Good evening. My name is Linda Minnotte, and I'm one of the at-large members of the Board of Handbell Musicians of America, and I'm your host for this evening's Facebook Live broadcast as we discuss virtual classes at this year's national seminar. If you're unable to attend in person, you might consider a virtual registration. With that, you can get access to 37 different classes that are live streamed from Arizona, and also some special international classes being held this year for the first time. I'd like to introduce Jenny Cawhorn. She's chair of the National Seminar Planning Committee, and she'll tell us a little bit more about the virtual classes available this year at National Seminar. Hi, Jenny. How are you?
Hey, Linda. It's great to see you.
Good to see you.
Out there. So we're really excited that we're able to do sort of a hybrid version of the event this year and offering some virtual classes. We have a couple different ways that you can enjoy the virtual options. We'll be live streaming some of the classes that are on site, being taught on site at the event. And then we also have a great lineup of some international virtual classes taught by some of our friends across the world in the handbell community. Really excited about those. And you can see all of the options at our website, seminar.handbellmusicians.org. There's a section for classes, and you'll see tabs on that page that list all of our in-person classes, our virtual classes, and our international virtual-only classes. All of our virtual offerings are recorded and will be available for a full month after the event. So if you can't see them during that 1 week, you have all that time to watch the recordings as well. And then as you look at the schedule and the list of classes, you'll see that there's different symbols by each one, which will indicate what's virtual, what's in person. And then for those that are virtual, we have a list of sort of suggested equipment you might want to have in front of you if you have access to bells that you could have there. But if you don't have access to bells, that's not necessary to participate virtually. You can still get a lot of good benefit out of the class without actual handbells in your hands or access to those.
Use the usual spoons and forks and knives and whatever else you have at home, right?
We've learned that pure leaf tea bottles are great.
Oh, okay, good to know.
Because the handle, the way the neck comes down, it's about the size of a handball handle, so it works really well.
Yeah, didn't think about that. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Well, it's my pleasure right now to introduce our international guests that we're having this evening. For them, it's a little bit more tomorrow in the morning, I believe. So even though it's evening for us, it's morning for them. So I'd like to introduce to you, we have Emily Lee from Hong Kong. Hi, Emily. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Fine. Yeah.
Excellent. And you want to tell us a little bit about what you're going to be teaching?
So I am going to teach two classes. The first class is called Building Skills for the Ensemble, and the second one is called Paper-Free Performance is Possible.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. We also have Damien Lim from Singapore. Damien, how are you doing? Good morning to you.
Good morning, Linda. Good morning, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Damien.
Good morning, Miss Lee.
You want to let us know a little bit about what you're going to be talking about and teaching with your group?
Yes. Similarly, I'm teaching two classes. The first is called Handbells Connected Through Fusion, East Meets West, and this is the one that is presented together with the Ministry of Bells, who will perform as the live ensemble. And then the second track would be roundtable discussion for teaching music online.
Excellent, excellent. And we also have Arthur Shin from Japan with us. Arthur, good morning.
Good morning. Well, good morning.
Hello.
Hi. Yes.
Arthur, I know you're have kind of coordinated some teachers for us. Tanamoto and Mickey, can you give us a little highlight of what they're going to be teaching?
Okay, yes. Well, we have two great teachers that are very popular here in Japan. One is Mrs. Tanimoto, who will be joining us with her family and telling us how to have fun with handbells at home. Wow. She's arranged a lot of music for five ringers, which is the member of the family. And she's written music that the same music can be rung with 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 ringers without changing assignments. So awesome. All these tricks will be shown. And the other one is Miki Nakao, and he's quite famous for his arrangements, the Glenn Miller classics. And he will be using Japanese music, both for, children's folklore, animation music from Ghibli, and Japanese pop music, and teaching us how to express music and find out what would be the best way to ring these pieces.
Awesome. Those are great classes. And lastly, we have Ali O'Connell coming all the way from Australia. Ali, how you doing?
Hello.
Good to see you, Ali. It's been so while.
Hey, Ali.
While. Good morning to you.
Hello.
Hi, Ali.
Hi. It's lovely to be here.
Lovely to have you. And you're going to be talking about youth and bells?
Yeah, something we've obviously discovered in the last year or so is how important ensembles can be for our ringers. And I'm particularly going to speak to my youth ensemble and what we've learned over the last year about supporting the whole person. And not only about the whole person, but how we can then support them to be the future leaders and future possibly clinicians of our organisations around the world, and how we best can support those young musicians to be the best they can be.
Very nice.
That's great. We certainly need to support our young ringers. As you say, it's the future of our profession and our bells. We need to have them. Have you had difficulty with the COVID in teaching, and how has that affected your group?
Certainly, initially, like everybody else, pretty much from March until about July last year, we weren't able to rehearse at all. Fortunately, in Australia, we have been incredibly lucky with COVID. We've been able to keep it pretty much under control, and life to the large extent has been pretty normal since July. However, we have had sort of rolling lockdowns every now and then, circuit breaker lockdowns when we've needed to. And it's been really interesting to hear from my students, from my kids, what they've actually needed. And we found more and more it's not actually been about music. They need the people around them. And I think handbell musicians are a unique breed. And when you have a group of people, they really do need each other. And sometimes I had to step back and not be about the music and be more about what they needed emotionally and mentally during that time.
Yeah, for sure. I can only imagine. Emily, I'm sure it's affected your teaching as well with your group in Hong Kong, with your kids. Have they been able to come to your place, or you've been doing a lot of online things as well?
Well, basically, we stopped our classes from February to August in 2020 last year. And then we start to resume when the COVID it's turning a bit mild. And then we start with small group without changing bells. They come back as a warm up. We just sort of getting everybody's back in the room. And so we separate the ensemble into several small divisions. And then we were lucky to resume our regular rehearsal in September, all through December before the second lockdown.
Yeah.
So we plan to do a video performance, and then we just have to postpone it until January. And then, well, we were a bit lucky that we are having our live concert last week.
Great.
So we actually have two live events done in May. One is an exhibition for the general public to come and play bells, and the second one is our own concert. So I'm very, very pleased. And during the pandemic, we do have one little innovation. We make this thing. This is a chime. Oh, it's here. And this is a practice chime. Yes, it's made of acrylic and plastic, but we do research, and it has a similar action and feeling as a real chime. So we've been using this for our school program student, where they can having Zoom lessons, so they can hold it in their hand and do the practice and do all the warm up that we teach them.
That's great. So they could just like practicing at home instead of using the forks and the spoons. They actually have something.
Yes, that's definitely, because we have so many shapes of different bottles and remote control that we try to standardize a little bit. So
that's
it's
great.
very, very well receiving, and we're glad. We hope this could become a future practice instrument even without the lockdown, and everybody can still play at home with something proper in their hands, and other than the bottles.
Good.
So this is one little achievement during the pandemic I can share with
All
you.
right. Hey, Damon, can you let us know a little bit how you're going to incorporate your Ministry of Bells in your classes this coming July?
Oh, yes. Well, firstly, the topic connected through fusion East meets West is actually taking published handbell scores and incorporating it with ethnic Asian and African and Middle Eastern instruments. And I could share, and with the Ministry of Bells playing live, it's wonderful because then the audience, the participants could ask questions live, and we could do some live demonstrations at the same time. So rather than using a video recorded media, so some of the songs that we've selected include Echoes from Japan, which includes the taiko drums. And so what we're going to talk about is, if an ensemble in any part of the world doesn't have a taiko drum, what other instruments could they use to replace the taiko drum? Other songs include Prince Ali from Aladdin, where we're going to use the Middle Eastern darbuka. And again, if you don't have a darbuka, what can you use to replace the darbuka? So the cool thing is we're going to take ethnic percussion instruments, which we have a lot in our studio, to incorporate it with existing handbell music.
That sounds very exciting. As me, somebody who's going to be there myself, I almost want to make sure I get online to watch your class. That sounds very exciting.
Thank you.
Arthur, can you give us any more information about, I know you're just sort of coordinating this, but the classes are going to be taught by the Japanese instructors. Is there any more information you want to give to our listeners or watchers?
Well, I'm going to be working with, I will be translating the classes, and
Okay.
these, so if you remember me translating at the International Symposium, it will be like that.
Okay.
A little bit more. We'll try to make it a lot of fun. Tanimoto Sensei's her class is going to probably be very interesting. Her son will come to their house, which is about 600 miles from Tokyo.
Oh.
And I'll be in Tokyo to interpret, so it'll be very virtual. So I'm sure you will all have fun. Mickey's class, Nakao's class will be done from the office, and we are planning to have a few ringers here to demonstrate as well. So that should be fun too.
It just kind of I can't even talk. It's been a long day. Talking about the COVID before with Ali and Emily, anything that's happened in Japan that was been hard for you all with what you've been doing over there? You had to do new things, obviously.
Well, Japan never really had an actual lockdown. They call it the state of emergency, which is almost like a semi-lockdown. So people are recommended to stay home. So that's probably one reason why it's kind of extending a long time. Schools have reconvened quite a while ago, but they have banned extracurricular activities after school. So a lot of the groups have not been able to practice for a long time, and from about early this year, then they have started to practice maybe 30% of their usual rehearsal time to get together. But one thing good about the handbells was that it's not like a choir; they're not singing, so the social distancing works actually for handbell choir. So people are beginning to look at handbells in a different way. The biggest damage that was with the community groups, because a lot of the community groups used public meeting rooms and churches, which actually banned people to come to. So they haven't rehearsed for a long time. Things are looking a little bit better because the government is trying to do the Olympics here. So we are hoping that after this summer, we will be able to go back to maybe about 60% normal, which should be good.
Well, I'll throw this, community groups here in the United States obviously have been impacted the same way. I'll kind of throw this question out, anybody can answer. Has the COVID and the pandemic changed the way you think in the future how you will teach or rehearse Has that made any difference? I mean, obviously, Emily, you were showing that lovely device there, the chime. That's obviously going to be a change. But have you thought about any permanent changes you might make to your rehearsals or teaching because of COVID?
Mhm. During the pandemic, we did a few Zoom rehearsals with our community ensembles. That's my youth ensemble. We have realized there are quite some time that you don't really need a bell in your hands to rehearse, because in learning a piece of music, in preparing a performance, there's actually a lot to talk about. Where in the face-to-face rehearsal, we spend most of our time ringing the bells, because we always try to ring the bell, but we have not taken care of many other things. So during the Zoom rehearsal, that we realized, or we tried to figure out what can we do, because we cannot tolerate the time delay when everybody play the bell together. So I think this is one bonus, or this is one thing that is gained from being away from the rehearsal room, and yet we try to get the group stay together and do something, and without just stop and wait for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Just to speak to that, actually, all of the other guests here were involved in this. It gave me an opportunity to think differently and maybe broaden my students' experience. Like Emily, it was all of a sudden, we don't just need to play all the time. And so when we were in lockdown, we did keep a regular weekly Zoom meeting going. And over a series of weeks, I actually interviewed a number of international presenters, as say everyone here, plus a couple of others, and to talk about their experiences with handbells. We talked to Damien about the school system in Singapore. The students were really interested in that. We talked to Emily about how things were going over there and her experiences, how she'd got into handbells. So it was a fantastic opportunity to actually broaden some of their experience rather than just focusing on music practice and theory. We also had the opportunity to watch some videos and actually offer those groups what sort of criticism, if you were the director of this group, what would you be saying to this group that you would want them to improve on? So they would say, I really wanted to hear more of that melody line here, or I think they could have done more with that. And it was really interesting to hear from the students actually how broad their experience was, how much knowledge and how observant they were, and to give them the opportunity to ask some questions of the wider handbell community that we normally wouldn't have even thought about during rehearsal.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let me just mention one thing. If anyone has any questions for the panelists, please post them in the live chat or comments, and we'll be answering those. Damien, do you have anything else you wanted to add about anything you're doing differently or might change in the future?
Yes, resonating with what Emily and Ali mentioned, teaching handbells in Singapore has changed a lot. Like in many parts of the world, we are, our distancing, it's so distant. It's like one person per table. That's a big distance. And when you spread the ensemble so far out, it gets a little challenging for the musicians to hear one another. But it's a good thing that we are still allowed back in schools to teach, at least from August last year through May this year. We are in our current second lockdown right now for 4 weeks, so hopefully things will get better. We tried to ring behind panels as well. I'm not too sure. I think there was a picture in one of the Overtones magazines that showed the minstrel bells using panels, and we shielded one from one another. That was honestly quite a pain to play with, because when we ring the bells, the sound bounces back right into their ears, and so they could hear themselves more than anyone else. But for safe distancing and for health measures, I think that was something that we needed to do. But we stuck to that for about a couple of months, and then we put the boards away. Teaching music online, which is which is the second track that I'm presenting, speaks pretty much about how we as educators go to schools, go online to teach music. And yes, like what Emily mentioned, ringing bells, it's so difficult because of latency that as educators, we had to come up with different contents for every lesson. So what that class is going to talk about and share would be all our different experiences and what softwares, what apps we do, what contents we do, so that with these resources, we are able, as educators around the world and in America, to be able to share these resources and ideas. How much better can we present handbell content, handbell related contents to our students?
That sounds really, really interesting. I know that what Ali, you said, I've been able to watch other groups that I wouldn't have been able to see because of the virtual concerts. So being able, I mean, just the fact that we're talking together is kind of amazing to me in some ways. It's just like real time. What Zoom has been able to do for us is pretty amazing. And I think, obviously that may stay a part of what we're doing, but to be able for you to talk to Emily's group or Damien's group, that's just an awesome thing. Yeah. Certainly, just want to put a plug in, make sure that if you're interested in joining with us, that you sign up at seminar.handbellmusicians.org. And you can sign up and register if you haven't already. You'd be missing out on some wonderful, wonderful classes that you already heard a little bit about. So you can join us virtually. If you're not going to be in Glendale, Arizona, please join us. And you're lucky enough that it's before July or June the 1st. So you get a discount. So going to save some dollars. You want to make sure you see these people and see the classes they're going to be presenting and the classes from the instructors from Japan. So so far we haven't gotten any questions from panelists, so I'll just open it up. Is there anybody else that would like to just make a comment about what they're going to be teaching or any other things they want to talk about, just to kind of get the interest going for those? There might be sitting there going, well, I don't know if I want to join in or not.
I think the virtual classes is going to give the audience a lot of tips and tricks in the future, when we have the similar situation again, because we're actually doing this right now. And so I think it's a must come to attend all these virtual classes, to have a sense how it looks like and how it tastes and how it's going to be and what's the benefits to your group, instead of just stopping everything, and make things going. Ali.
Yeah, Ali.
Certainly, I was going to totally agree with you that actually looking at what everybody else has been doing around the world has actually really helped influence me and made me think more creatively about how we can continue as musicians and as educators in this very difficult time. Certainly, my first few times on Zoom, I wanted to give up. It was horrible. I hated it. The contrast between teaching my students face-to-face, their experience, it really made me go away and think, oh my gosh, how do I get through this? I can't do it. I'm just going to quit. And it was actually listening to the experiences of other people, watching what other people were doing around the world, that really inspired me to think, no, we can keep this going. And I worked really hard to pull my youth ensemble together and keep them together. And I was very worried we were not going to be able to continue through the pandemic. I thought that was it. And I feel like even though our numbers have dropped, yes. However, I feel that the group we've got remaining is very strong and very committed to the handbell world. And I think that is a testament to what everybody else is doing. And I think these international sessions are an ideal opportunity to learn what is happening around the world, what everyone else is doing, so we can all find a way to continue together.
Absolutely. And I think it's also reassuring to know that we've probably all been in the same boat, as you were saying, that we're kind of learning as we go. This is so new to all of us, but being able to hear not only from virtual classes from people from the United States, but to hear you all say, yes, I'm having the same issues. It's kind of reassuring to know it's worldwide. It's not just in your little neck of the woods. So certainly Zoom has, trying to play bells or sing or whatever on Zoom has been an interesting thing with the the lag time. It's been crazy. My family sang. My husband got a thing together for my 65th birthday last year. They all sang "Happy Birthday" to me. Well, that was an interesting thing. So hearing, 100, it was like 100 people on singing, it made me laugh. It was a good time. So, all right. So again, remember, registration deadline is June the 1st. For those that are still on the fence, we want to have you join us because we don't want you to have you miss out on these wonderful, wonderful classes from our international teachers, and also from those. There's 37 classes total you can get online, along with being able to be part of the, I guess you'll be able to bid on the silent auction. And there may be some Handbell Commons things where some of the vendors will have some virtual things as well. So please join us. And we appreciate all four of you being part of us tonight. We appreciate you taking not tonight, this morning, sorry, taking the time this morning early enough for you guys to be a part of us. We appreciate that. So, any last comments or thoughts from anybody? Would like to add anything before we kind of wrap things up? Because obviously we don't have anybody asking us any questions.
I look forward to see everybody.
Yeah.
Classes.
Yes,
Yeah.
we look forward to seeing everybody too. And then this pandemic has proven that handbells are addictive because we are seeing withdrawal symptoms from everyone that they want a ring.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree. My community choir, we're recording a piece on next Friday for a commission work for Jason Krug. We commissioned him for our 10th anniversary. And when I asked the ringers, would you get together for just a couple of rehearsals to put this together? And everybody said, yes, let's do it. Now, we're being socially distant. We're wearing masks, all that stuff. But I agree. I think we've all been in hibernation for so long, and we are just feeling we got to get back to bells. And so, if you don't want to get on that airplane, you don't want to drive it, get in that car, again, join us virtually. We're going to offer you a lot of things this year online. And we also, you want to be a part of this great group of people. So thank you so much. You do appreciate it. Again, one more plug. June the 1st is your deadline. It's seminar.handbellmusicians.org. That June 1st deadline is for your early bird registration. So you save a few dollars. And then if you want to look at the classes before that, you can go to the virtual only tab on in the website, and then I'll show you the classes, a little bit about what they're having to say, what to do. So great, guys. I really appreciate you spending the time with us this morning. And we'll look forward to seeing you in person in July. I'll be in Glendale, but the rest of you all, I hopefully see you a little bit online. So thanks so much for being with us this evening. I really appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. See you all.
Bye.
See you.